Well, hello.
Hi there.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet
Yeah.
you.
They are the founders of this, and they are the founders of the Latin American Biblical University where I teach. See, I keep touching the wrong thing, that's what's wrong. And here is the very first faculty and the first students. Aren't they fun? That was in 1923. And they trained all those women and sent them out as evangelists. And then the next year they let men in, but the first year was just women. And when we did this celebration of the 90th anniversary, the librarian covered all of our walls with all of these old pictures from that time of the students, and of course a lot of the current professors were students there, and so he put up pictures of them when 30 years ago when they were young and stuff. It was really funny. But then they put up the rules of how things were all set up. Now, your first year there, you could not date at all. Your second year, you could not date at all. The third year, you could date in this fashion. You could go with the girl that you're interested in a group to church, and you could hold her elbow going up the stairs into church. That's it. Well, times have changed just a little bit, but anyway, that's the way it was, and they had this rigid schedule. Every minute was scheduled. You get up at 6, you have your devotions, then you have breakfast, then you have chapel, then you have class, then you have lunch, then you have study time, then you have sports, then you have more chapel, then you have dinner, then all the way through. And it was really funny to look at all of that stuff. And I think it might be a good idea, actually. I suggested to my students that maybe we should just implement that again. They were not impressed. So they built this building for the seminary, and that lasted for maybe 70 years or something like that, 75 years. But it was right downtown. And San Jose is a capital city, and downtown was getting to be kind of a dangerous place to be. And so students were getting robbed on their way to class. So they really needed to move. And this wealthy doctor, Christian doctor, had a farm, and he said, I'll give you my farm. I'll donate my farm to you. I mean, it was not being farmed, it was just land. Well, so then they had land, but they didn't have a penny to build with. So the president of the university at that time was Elsa Tames, a Mexican biblical scholar, and she said, well, we started this place for women. We're going to let the women pay for it. Anyway, women know how to raise money. We know that. So she said, all right, we're going to have a 1 million women campaign. We're going to ask 1 million women to each give $1, and then we'll have $1 million and we'll build our campus. And she did it. It was amazing. We had a woman from India come and speak a couple months ago, and she said, oh yes, I contributed to that 1 million women campaign, and I got my sisters to participate too. Because it has such a reputation all over the place, and so people were willing to contribute. And of course, they gave more than $1, but So anyway, this is the statue that was made to honor all the women who contributed to make this incredible new campus. Before, it looked like a high school classroom sort of place, it was just this one big ugly building. And now we have this beautiful campus with all this grass area. Outside of where you can actually see, there's this grove of bamboo. And there's a little place that you can go in there. So we've always said it would make a beautiful place to have a prayer chapel. But you can do whatever you want there. In fact, well, probably shouldn't tell this story, but I'm in charge of the students now in terms of their, sort of pastoring students. And one student came to me and she was just really upset, and all these things were going wrong, and she was just holding it all in. And I said, look, this is what you need to do. Just go into that bamboo and just scream to your heart's content. Just get it out of your system and just scream and cry and yell, and then you'll feel better. So weeks later, the administrator called me into the office and said, I'm really concerned about one of our students. I got a report from another student that he heard her screaming in the bamboo. I think you need to talk to her. I said, okay, yeah, I'll talk to her. It was pretty funny, but anyway. So from the very beginning, the idea of the university is that it would be for all of Latin America. It would not just be for Costa Rica. Because Costa Rica is right in the center there, that it's a point to come to. But that in fact, people would come from all over. And that's the way it has been from the very beginning. So we have Rosalia comes from Honduras and Luisa from El Salvador, both from Central America. And what they're doing there, all the students that are on scholarship, which is all the students, have to put in 3 hours of volunteer work at the university just to help out. So we assign them to different things, 3 hours a week. And they're doing gardening there. Daniel is from Honduras. He has quite a story, and if you get my newsletters, you read something in his story. But he works with kids and youth who live on the streets of Tegucigalpa in Honduras. You know, Honduras is a mess. It has the highest homicide rate of any country in the world not at war, and it's pretty much dominated by gangs, by violence, and that's where a lot of the kids coming after the U.S. are coming from. But he was working with these kids, and all of the pastors in the churches were telling him that he was nuts, that why was he wasting his time with these kids? They were just a menace, they were a scourge, that he should not be wasting his time with them. None of the churches would let these kids in. And he needed a space to just get away from this ministry and think through what he was doing and do some study and some reflection. He came to do his master's thesis, his master's degree at the university, and just looked at Jesus' ministry and what the theologians said and what the sociologists said. And when he presented his master's thesis to us, the church on the other corner, he had us all in tears. It was amazing. He said, the street is a place of epiphany. It's a place where God is revealed. But God is always revealed in a very concrete way to these kids. A hug, a smile, some food, maybe a piece of clothing, place to stay, and he gathers with these kids under a bridge or in a park or on a street corner, and he talks about God's love. And they know that the good people around all hate them. In fact, the merchants in the town have organized death squads to get rid of them. And he says, that may be, but God does love you. And God is the only one who loves you except for me. I love you too. And they come and they sing praise and they tell about how God has spoken to them or that they sense the presence of God that day. And they are learning to love Jesus. But it's a terribly difficult ministry. He was showing us some slides of the kids, and then one slide came up and he burst into tears. He said, oh, I just heard that one's died. They don't usually last longer than 20, 25 years. And they're dead in gang violence or whatever. You know? So those are the kinds of situations that are part of the reality of Latin America that at the university we have to provide a space where people can think through and see what God is calling them to do in the midst of such difficult situations. These are 30 of my favorite students from Peru from this year. They're just absolutely delightful. And they're from the jungle area of Peru. Now, Harold is from the Yanisha tribe, and he told us that, oh, okay, you gotta go take your kids.
We do. We gotta take
Okay.
them. Sorry. Thank you very much. I'll see you this summer.
Taking a long time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sure.
What year was she said?
Next summer? All right. And he told us that his tribe will disappear in 10 years. That it's just being wiped out. That the kids in the tribe are trying to conform to the majority culture. They don't want it anything to do with learning Yanisha or acting like Yanisha. And the missionaries have told them that their entire culture is satanic and that they should just drop it. So what he's doing at the university, it's really exciting to talk to him. He says, the Yanisha can be Christian and also Yanisha. See, that's a radical idea. Nobody believes that. I mean, nobody of the missionaries that are working there. And so he's trying to restore the customs and the culture of the Yanisha people within a Christian context. He's a Methodist pastor. He's working as a Methodist pastor, and it's just fascinating to see how he's doing that. And, this is Bolé from Haiti, and he's a journalist by profession. He's Catholic, and what he wants to do, he's been doing Bible studies in communities, and he wants to go back and start a literacy program. He says it's a big issue in Haiti is the illiteracy. We've got to get past that. So they'll teach through the Bible. Liz is working with Mayan women in Guatemala. She's Presbyterian. And these are our Baptists. Ernesto and Carlos are from Cuba. They're both with the Baptist fraternity. And Ernesto here is a pastor in Holguin and also the vice president of the fraternity. I'm going to do some classes for him in November. And Carlos is at the Martin Luther King Center at the church in Havana and works as a teacher professionally and is a Sunday school teacher. And they were just so fun to have there and to talk about Cuba and about what's going on there. It was really fun. Well, I put this in so that you could interpret that. What do you see? What do you think?
When you teach church out of the class.
That's kind of the idea. I'm sure you've heard the expression, a church that is heavenly bound and no earthly good. We have a lot of churches in Latin America that live as little ghetto communities. That they think that the way to be Christian is to separate themselves from the evil world. And so they don't ever associate with anybody they would consider to be sinful. And they even shop only at Christian stores, and they would certainly, you'd never find them talking to anybody on the street or anybody, in sinful things like people that might go to movies or put on makeup or prostitute or something like that. So they miss out on everything that God is trying to do through them for their communities, right? So one of the things that we do at the university is really focus on how God is using us to build his kingdom here, which is what the theme was, of course, for the convention for the Nebraska yesterday, the day before yesterday. So one of the ways that we do that is to find leaders amongst people who would never have a chance to study if it weren't for scholarship, but who have natural leadership abilities. So Isai is one of those folks. He's also from Peru. He is Quechua speaking. He didn't learn to speak Spanish until he went to first grade when he was 8. And this is Isai and his father in front of their house. You can see that they are not wealthy people. But he has an incredible gift for leadership. He's just amazing, and he's doing so much for his community. He is working as a Pentecostal pastor. And actually, he confessed to me that when he finished his